This is Matt from MGMT Boston. Today we are on Tremont Street with the co-founder and CEO of Cimulate, John Andrews. Funny story, John and I first met on the day he was leaving his last company, an e-commerce company you might know by the name of Nike. And here we are 2+ years later with John building Cimulate. So John, what are you and your team building here?
Great question. So Cimulate, we are focused on building the next generation of product discovery, right, and exploration in the world of the dawn of agentic commerce. So as part of that, we're building an actual LLM-based operating system that understands at a much deeper level customer context and customer intent, more than just kind of using keywords, et cetera, but truly understanding what the customer is looking for, and doing that with this LLM-based operating system that we refer to as CommerceGPT. This is the overall category that we see from a generative AI perspective that is kind of taking over what commerce is going to look like in terms of that customer experience. The way we build that out is, of course, we use data from the customer, their product catalogs and behavioral data. But more importantly, we generate an enormous amount of synthetic data. And the synthetic data solves one problem, which is a data challenge, right? Because frankly, the LLMs and generative AI technology is out there, right? But the problem is that for retailers and brands and B2B distributors and manufacturers, they're at a pretty enormous data disadvantage compared to somebody like Amazon or Walmart, right? And the synthetic data allows us to fill that data gap by producing an enormous amount of data that helps the retailer understand how customers talk about their products, how they describe their products, how they look to compare their products versus other products, and essentially, in the end of the day, buy their products. And so we are starting with this, focused on search and effectively replacing the search and browse infrastructure on our customers' websites. We also have a recommendations capability. We generally don't lead with that, but we think it's a very natural extension of the platform and goes hand in hand with that product discovery and search capability. We have a conversational search capability, and we're also doing some work as well now around AEO and GEO, and pretty nascent space, but helping our customers understand how can they get more visibility from some of these massive foundation models where folks are starting to use those to explore and do product discovery as well.
As we sit here in the fall of 2025, e-commerce, one of the largest markets in the world, approaching $1 trillion. What are you and your team focused on as we head into the end of the year and into 2026?
So the last 2.5 years have been a bit of a whirlwind. I founded the company when we chatted in the spring of 2023, along with Vivek Farias. He's our CTO, co-founder, also professor at MIT, one of the 2 co-chairs of the Gen AI Consortium at MIT, which obviously is super helpful, having kind of his experience and background and in depth in this space, driving our product and our roadmap. And at that point, we raised the seed round, right? We raised the $5 million seed, like bring in kind of the initial team, build the core of the product, and spent the next year effectively building that platform, working with about a handful of development partners, early customers, and used the momentum that we were seeing there to raise a much larger Series A. And so Spark Capital here in Boston, Alex Finkelstein in Boston, led that. We did a $28.5 million Series A and have used basically that money over the last year. We did that just about a year ago, November of 2024. And using that to start to scale, obviously the engineering and data science team continuing to build there. We build the core of the platform, but more importantly, starting to build the go-to-market team. And so a big part of that past year is bringing in our head of sales, Paul Erickson, our chief marketing officer, Jess Iandiorio, and then starting to bring in business development team, our account executives, building out the marketing team, and our customer success team. So that's been a big part of the last year. And what we're doing at this point is effectively scaling that as quickly as possible. I think that the reason that we're doing that as quickly as we can is we do believe the time is now. We have a product that works. We have a lead from a technical perspective. When we go head to head against our competitors, we win. We have a better approach. And with that, we want to move as quickly as possible. I do think because this approach of using an LLM-based operating system is so much better than keyword search or semantic-based search, we're seeing pretty much everybody in the space assessing whether or not, and then choosing to pretty much upend their infrastructure and update it to this new capability.
Now, without dating you, you've been working in e-commerce search for a few years now.
You're dating me. Go ahead.
What are some of the lessons you've learned building Cimulate now and in your career prior that you would pass back to up-and-coming builders, other technologists, about sort of what it takes to reach this level of scale in kind of a new era?
Yeah. It's a good question. I think from a building perspective, I'll say it is really, really hard to start a company and build a company. It's not for the faint of heart, but I think it's incredibly rewarding. One piece of advice is acknowledge that it's really hard, but it's also not impossible. You know, jump in and get after it. There are high highs and low lows, and don't let them get you down or get you too excited at any point. It's very unlikely that any one customer or event is going to make or break the company, so keep your head about you and keep going. The other thing is do something where you have an advantage in terms of why you're going after it. I did not think I was going to be back in the search space, having come from Endeca and having Endeca dominated that space in the 2000s and early teens. But here I am, and I think with Vivek's experience from a generative AI and analytics and technology perspective, and my experience in the space, we have pretty damn good founder market fit. And that allows us to move pretty quickly to get to product market fit. I think the other thing is just team. We have spent an enormous amount of time investing in bringing in the best people within our network. And I think it's because of that we've been able to move so fast and have a product that actually works. It's a small community out there, and being able to know some really good folks that we've worked with over the years, to be able to bring them on the journey of what we're building now is also really rewarding and exciting to have them along for the ride.
Definitely. And last but not least, like, how can we help Cimulate grow here in Boston and far beyond?
Yeah. So we're investing in Boston. We have some folks in other areas of the country, but the majority of our team are here building in this Boston ecosystem. We want people to come have an office environment that they can come into and be excited about and collaborate. And so a big part is just hiring for us, right? And word of mouth and all the great content and community that you've developed is incredibly important to get the word out there and what we're building at Cimulate and get the best and brightest. We've kept a really high bar that has frankly slowed us down a little bit because we're not just hiring anybody off the street, but really excited to meet some of the best engineers, sales, marketing folks out there and bring them on board. Second is customers. Right? And we are looking for any opportunity to get in front of customers who are thinking about upgrading the search and browse and product discovery infrastructure. The time that I get the most upset, sad, is when I talk to somebody, like, right, when we are fully in the market and have a seat at the big table, and somebody says like, oh, wow, that's really interesting, but like we just signed a contract with one of our competitors. We just signed a contract with Algolia or Constructor, and we didn't know about you guys, right? We're changing that. We're getting the word out there, but we want folks to just take an opportunity to look at us and see what we can do, because when we have that opportunity, we've generally won.
This is John Andrews, the co-founder and CEO of Cimulate, Matt from MGMT Boston on this episode of Lantern. Thanks so much for joining us.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt.